to be completely honest, if we don't get this guy, I may never watch Spurs basketball again. What's going on, Spurs fans? All right, so I am going to keep watching Spurs basketball, but hear me out. We have an awesome video today about a player that I think that I've talked about before that the Spurs need to work on getting, and here he is right before your eyes, Jaren Jackson Jr. Before we get into it, guys, make sure to hit that like and subscribe. The subscribers are going up. I really appreciate everything that everybody's doing for this small channel that hopefully can grow. But again, guys, getting right into it, Jaren Jackson Jr. All right, for those of you who are not familiar with Jaren Jackson Jr., he is a power forward slash center that was drafted by Memphis. So he's been with them since 2018. He's been with them all of his years. I'm not sure why it says no stats. All right, so Jaren Jackson, we're going to go through about three or four reasons why I think the Spurs should get him. Now, I did make a video about this maybe, I don't know, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, maybe even longer, about getting Jaren Jackson, and we're going to go over that again. We need a big man. Spurs need a big man that can preferably start with Wemby. And Jaren Jackson Jr. is somebody who I think is available given what Memphis has done, and we'll talk about that. And then I've also made a video about Dereck Lively. However, I do believe that Dallas will push for a championship, and I think Dereck Lively can be a big part of that for them. So getting right into it, guys, we look at JJJ, as we like to call him. He is 6'10", 242, so a big dude, almost 7 feet, right? So he's pretty tall. I believe he could play the center position pretty well with Wemby. And if you just look at his timeline, he's 25 years old. I think that fits perfectly with what the Spurs are trying to do, right? I mean, if the Spurs can't land Kevin Durant, which, I mean, KD's going to be 37, I really think they need him. I mean, honestly, I think that they should push more for JJJ even more than KD, but that's why I don't get paid the big bucks. Maybe they have an idea that, you know, they're aware of. So again, he went to Michigan State. Now, if we look at his stats, right, we're going to get right into it. I'm not sure why it's blurry right there, but if we look at his stats, right off the bat, his points per game have been going up all seasons, all right? He's averaging almost 22, or he is averaging 22 points per game, 18, almost 19 his whole career so far. So he's a scorer. You might say, well, how does he score? Well, he's kind of a bruiser in my opinion. If we look at his 3-point percentage, 38%, which is not horrible, honestly. I think that's actually pretty good given his play style and physique. So he can really stretch the floor a little bit with the starting unit. I'm a big, firm believer that Wemby should not be playing the center position. One, if you guys have watched my videos, one, he said that he doesn't want to. And two, I don't see that his play style and his long-term, tenure with the team is going to be well at the center position where it's a lot more bruising. Where JJJ, if you've watched him, he can do that. He does do that. So free throw percentage, right? That's always important. Really good free throw shooter, improving all years. And then rebounding, he could be better for his size. He doesn't get too many rebounds, but, defensively, he's pretty good at blocks and steals. I know defensively he's real tenacious. That's probably actually one of his fortes. I think he's been in the discussion for Defensive Player of the Year a couple of times. Now, what about other things, right? Because San Antonio, of course, we have Wemby. Of course, he's a great player. I think he was an all-star once or twice. Not very injury prone, right? I think not so much, but why? What else? So we look at his stats, right? But we also look at his dad, right? So I think this would be a good fit because if we look at Jaren Jackson Sr., that the Spurs were a team that he won a championship with. So he actually wore number 2. So we won't get into that. But that's, I think a big connection. He has familiarity with the city. He knows that the Spurs are an organization that really values their players and values winning more than anything. Memphis, I'm sure, does the same, but the Spurs are just different in that regard. So if we look at Memphis, right, because Memphis made a big move the other day. They sent out Desmond Bane to the Orlando Magic for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who I also said that we should try to get, and Cole Anthony. So in my opinion, people said, well, the Grizzlies, the Magic are going all in, or, the Grizzlies gave up nothing or whatever. But I personally believe that this trade is pretty even. I think Desmond Bane's a good scorer and a good player that could, be on a championship team. Not saying Magic are a championship team, but Contavious Caldwell-Pope and Cole Anthony for the Grizzlies as well. I think those are two players that are very serviceable, especially KCP, who has won a ring before. And look at that. 4 for unprotected first-round picks. That's ridiculous. And a pick swap. So there are 5 picks that Memphis is getting that no matter what, they get them from the Magic. That is not good for the Spurs, because that means that the asking price for all players is going up. So that's unfortunate. So with that being said, we found out that, I don't know how accurate this is, but precio de Giannis, the price for Giannis, okay, and they wanted everything. They wanted Steph Castle, Devin Vassell, Jeremy Sohan. They wanted the number 2 pick and 5 additional first-round picks. I don't know. I don't know why the NBA is so volatile in trades, right? You look at the Luka trade, right? Which I guess looking back at it, it wasn't that uneven. But you know what I'm saying. I mean, look at the one we just talked about with Desmond Bane. He's not a superstar, but he's a good player. And yet, you know, I don't know. You guys let me know what you guys think of all these crazy trades. But that is ridiculous. And I mean, obviously the Spurs would never do that in a million years. All right, so before we get off, we're going to take a couple more looks at Jeremy Sohan, right? He is working on his jump shot, so let me get this better in picture. So that's before. And if we look at Jeremy's jump shot before, look at the hitch. Oh, that is bad. I'm sorry. That's at the beginning of the season, I think, Devin. And now, it's still a little weird, but the hitch is pretty much gone. So I'm very happy about that. I think Jeremy's a long-term guy with the Spurs. Look at him just draining buckets. Buckets. All right. And lastly, we have our first look at DH, as I like to call him, Dylan Harper. Oops. In a Spurs uniform. Let me see if I'm able to zoom in here. Nope. Bruh. It says, okay, there we go. Oops. All right, so you guys know what DH looks like, but he just looks so young. This makes me feel so old. These guys look like they're in high school still, but you know, they pretty much are not far removed. Anyway, guys, this was an awesome video. Let me know what you guys think. We're going to keep going with Spurs content. This offseason has been kind of difficult with content, but you guys let me know what else you guys want. I'm actually going to go into a video with DeJounte Murray. He said some pretty cool stuff about Pop. So we're going to go into that, and I'll probably do some player dive-ins just to kind of give you guys an idea of who is on our team. All right, so make sure you hit that like and subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys later.